Hi, and welcome to DLC's video tutorials. Today we are solving systems of equations using elimination. Now, when you're solving systems of equations using elimination, what you're doing is you're combining both equations either by addition or subtraction, or you may have to use multiplication first and then addition and subtraction. Let's do a few examples and let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we know that we are trying to find the x and y coordinate that satisfy both equations. So here, if I could somehow combine these two equations, I know that I could eliminate the y's, because right here it looks like they zero out. They zero out if I just combine them. If I just combine them, I'm using addition. Okay, so if I just add straight down, I get 8x. This zeroes out is equal to 12 plus 4 is 16. Divide both sides by 8 to eliminate the 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1x. 1x is the same as x. X equals 16 divided by 8 is 2. So it looks like I found one of the coordinates. That is my x coordinate. To find the y coordinate, you just plug it into either the first equation or the second equation. It does not matter. So if you're afraid of negatives, just use the equation that has positives. So let's go ahead and use the second equation if that's the case. So instead of 3x, we could say 3 times 2 because x equals 2 plus y equals 4. Simplify, so we get 6 plus y equals 4. Looks like I'm going to need a little more room, so let me just erase this. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So y is equal to negative 2. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Have my x coordinate, have my y coordinate, go ahead and put it together. So my solution is 2, negative 2. These are my both coordinates that satisfy both equations. So here I used addition. I just combined both equations using addition to solve for x and y. Here I can't do that because if I just add, then I'm going to get 12c, 5d, and negative 15 plus 12, that's negative 3. I didn't eliminate anything. And when you're using addition and subtraction, or when you're using elimination, you have to see what you could cancel or zero out. You got to eliminate either the c or a d. That's why it's called elimination. And if I just add, I'm not eliminating anything. But if I subtract, then I could eliminate the c, because 6c minus 6c is 0. That zeroes out. But remember this, when you subtract, you're changing the sign of the first term. And in algebra, what you do to one term, you got to do to everything. So if I change the sign of this one, I got to change the sign of this and this term. So my negative 2d becomes a positive 2d. My positive 12 becomes a negative 12. Now I could combine them. Okay? So 6c minus 6c is gone. That zeroes out. 7d plus 2d, that's 9d, is equal to negative 15 minus 12. They're both negative, so add and keep the same sign. So I'm going to have a negative 27. Divide both sides by 9. And d is equal to negative 27 divided by 9 is negative 3. Okay, so right here, I'm trying to find c and d, my both coordinates. It looks like I found my d. So now I just got to find my c. So now that you found your d, go ahead and plug it into the first or second equation. Let's go ahead and plug it into the first one. So 6c plus 7d, which I know now is negative 3, is equal to negative 15. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Bring everything else down. Add 21 to both sides. Let me make some room here. Okay. So I have 6c is equal to 21 minus 15 is 6. Divide both sides by 6. And c equals 1. Now I found my c, my d. I found my solution. I found my coordinates that satisfy both equations. So we used addition and subtraction. In this example, in our next example, Am I going to use addition or subtraction? If I use addition, I'm not eliminating anything. This becomes 13m, this becomes 24n, and this becomes 19. But if I use subtraction and change the signs of every term in my second equation, then I could eliminate the n, the 12n. 12n minus 12n zeroes out. So 8m minus 5m is 3m is equal to 20 plus 1, 21. Divide both sides by 3, and m is equal to 7. Now that I found my m, which goes first, I got to find my other coordinate. Plug it into the first equation. So instead of 8m, it becomes 8 times 7 plus 12n equals 20. Let me make some room. Okay. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 12n equals 20. Subtract 56 from both sides. So 12n equals 20 minus 56. Well, 56 minus 20 is 36, but your sign will be negative because your bigger number is negative. Divide both sides by 12, and n is equal to negative 3, because negative 36 divided by 12 is a negative 3. So I found my m, I found my n, and that's it. I'm done. Here's one coordinate, here's the other coordinate. Put it together, and my solution is 7, negative 3. Okay, in this next one, I could use addition because I have opposite terms, negative 3 and positive 3, which means that that cancels. So I have 6x, that's gone, is equal to 26 minus 2 is 24. Divide both sides by 6, and x is equal to 4. So I found one of my coordinates. Now I've got to find my second one. So I plug it into the first or the second equation. Doesn't matter, let's use the first one. So instead of 4 times x, it's 4 times 4. Minus 3y is equal to negative 2. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus 3y is equal to negative 2. To solve for y, I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. That's gone. Negative 3y is equal to negative 2 minus 16 is going to be negative 18. Divide both sides by negative 3. Y is equal to negative 18 divided by negative 3 is a positive 6. Okay, found my x coordinate, found my y coordinate, put it together, I got 4, 6. This is my solution. Okay, so we used elimination by addition and subtraction. Now, it's not always that easy. You may have to use multiplication because you may not have terms that you could add or subtract to eliminate, and this is a perfect example. But what we can do is, if we take the second equation, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the first one here, and if I take the second one and if I multiply everything by 2, oops, I forgot my 2 here. Sorry, this is my first equation. If I multiply everything by 2, then I'll get 2x plus 8y equals negative 18. Just distribute. Now actually I did this wrong. Let me show you why. This is a lesson here that we could learn. Okay, so what I'm actually doing here, x plus 4, x plus 4y is equal to negative 9. I want to multiply both sides by 2. So here I distribute and I get 2x plus 8y is equal to negative 18. Now I could use subtraction. So 2x plus 8y is equal to negative 18. So I could use subtraction and change all the signs and then combine. So that zeroes out. A negative 3y and a negative 8y is a negative 11y. 4 and 18, that is 22. Divide both sides by negative 11, and y is equal to negative 2. Now that I found my y, so I have my x coordinate, which I'm still trying to find, have my y, go ahead and plug it into the first or second equation. So let's go ahead and plug it into, okay, the first one. Okay, so 2x minus 3y, which is negative 2, equals 4. Okay, simplify this. 2x, negative 3 times a negative 2 is a positive 6, equals 4. This is a two-step equation. Subtract 6 from both sides. So 2x is equal to negative 2. Divide both sides by 2. So x equals negative 1. You have your x coordinate, your y coordinate, put it together. So your solution is negative 1, negative 2. Okay, so we use multiplication. Then we combine both equations and eliminate the x or the y. Okay, so here it's not as easy as the one we just did. Here it looks like we're going to have to multiply the first and the second equation. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. We have 10 here. If we multiply the top equation by 2, then we'll get negative 10y. Then we could eliminate the y, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to multiply both sides here by 2. And when we do that, so we distribute here, we get 8x minus 10y is equal to 23 times 2. That's going to be 46. Just double it. Now, rewrite your second equation just below. And it looks like we could just combine them. So 8x plus 3x, that's 11x. That zeroes out. 11x is equal to 77. Divide both sides by 11. And x is equal to 7. 77 divided by 11 is 7. So I have my x coordinate. Now I got to find my y coordinate. Well, plug it in. Plug it into the original one. Okay, so instead of 4x, it's 4 times 7 minus 5y equals 23. 4 times 7 is 28 minus 5y equals 23. Subtract 28 from both sides. So negative 5y is equal to 23 minus 28. It's going to be a negative 5. Just subtract and keep the sign with the bigger value. Divide both sides by negative 5. And y is equal to a positive 1. Now I have my x coordinate, my y coordinate. Put them together. 7, 1 is your final answer. So with using multiplication, we've only had to multiply one of the equations. But you may have to multiply both of the equations. So here, I could eliminate the s if I multiply this by negative 3 and this by 4. That way I get negative 12 and positive 12, and that eliminates. Or I could multiply the top by 2 to get a negative 10 here, and the bottom by 5 to get a positive 10. And I think I'm going to do that instead. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Okay, so here I'm going to multiply. Let me write both equations separately. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this, both sides of this equation, by 2. Distribute, I get 8s minus 10t is equal to multiply this by 2, and I get 6. Okay, this one, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Distribute here, and I get 15s plus 10t is equal to negative 15 times 5. 10 times 5 is 50, and 50 and 25 is 75, and it's negative. Okay, now it looks like I have opposite terms right here with my t's. Now I could combine them. So I'm going to write one beneath the other. 8s minus 10t is equal to 6, and I just combine them. So 15 plus 8, that's going to be 23s. 15 and 8 is 23. My 10s cancel, zero out. or my t zero out. Now here I have negative 75 plus 6. The signs are different, so subtract and keep the same, the sign with the bigger value. So it's going to be negative 75 minus 6 is going to be 69. Okay, divide both sides by 23, and s is equal to a negative, what's 69 divided by 23? Looks like that's negative 3. Okay, you could do your math here. 23 times 3, that's 9, 6, 69. So that is my first coordinate. I'll go ahead and write it right here. So negative 3. Now my second one, plug this in into either the first or the second original equations. Let's just use the first one. Okay, so 4 times s, which is negative 3, minus 5t is equal to 3. Okay, so I plug this, the negative 3, into the first equation. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, minus 5t is equal to 3. Add 12 to both sides. This is just a two-step equation. That zeroes out. Negative 5t is equal to 12 plus 3 is 15. Divide both sides by negative 5, and t is equal to negative 3. 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. Have my s coordinate, my t coordinate, put them together, negative 3, negative 3. That is my solution. Okay, we had a long lesson today. We did elimination using addition, subtraction, and then multiplication before adding and subtracting. But all with the goal to eliminate one of the variables to solve for the other. And then we substitute that back into the original equations to get the other coordinate, to get your final solution. We hope this has helped. Good luck on your studies, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.